Hi Chili, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Excellent. I've got another quick card trick for you.
Okay.
Obviously you've seen quite a few card tricks now.
I have.
Have you noticed when magicians do card tricks, they always let you choose cards or whatever, but they always keep the cards face down all the way through. Do you know why that is?
No.
I think it's so they can cheat easier.
Okay.
Because if they like shuffle the cards up and you don't see the fronts and then they offer you a choice of card, they could all be aces and you would have no idea.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to do this entire trick with the cards facing upwards all the way through.
Right.
So I couldn't be any fairer. Yeah?
Yeah.
And also I'm going to square the cards up and I'm going to have you involved as well. So what I'd like you to do is to cut off about half the cards for yourself or slightly less, however many you like, and hold on to them like this. And then what I want you to do is copy what I do, take the cards face up one at a time, just deal them into a little pile. That's brilliant, just like that. But go slow. And what I want you to do is to, at some point, don't let me influence you, just stop on a card that you feel compelled to stop on. Now you've stopped dealing here. Is this on the 10 of diamonds or the 4 of hearts? Which one?
10 of diamonds.
The 10 of diamonds. Now, this is the cool part. There's no 10 of diamonds here on the cards in the packet. No, so I haven't got any extra cards or anything. If I take these ones from you, there's also no 10 of diamonds here, is that right?
Yep.
Perfect. And if you had cut a bit further down, you could have had some of my cards in your hand. None of these cards are the 10 of diamonds either. And none of these are the 10 of diamonds. None of these are the 10 of diamonds. None of these are a 10 of diamonds. There was a 10 of hearts, that was close. None of these are a 10 of diamonds. And no 10 of diamonds. So, you chose the only 10 of diamonds in the entire pack of cards.
Yeah.
What are the chances of that? You don't seem very impressed.
No.
What about if I knew you would choose it before we even started? Now that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
So let's take a look at Simon Lovell's oblique brainwave, or Slob, and see exactly what you get in the box. So your deck of cards here, if you take them out of the case, look to be completely regular, and they are all completely regular. There's no sticky stuff or rough and smooth or anything like that. But if you turn them face down, you'll notice that you've got a small setup in that you've got a small bank of red cards. Now your set might be red backed with a section of blue cards. It doesn't make much difference either way. And I've set mine up by writing "Pick Me" on the back of every single red card, which I strongly recommend you doing as well, because it really emphasises that that card is single at the end. You'll see what I mean. But to set it up, do your writing. You put 2 blue cards down on the table, your chunk of red cards, and then all the rest of the blue cards on top. Or, of course, the other way round if your deck is in the other configuration. And with the deck set up like that, you are ready to rock and roll. So here's how you perform Simon Lovell's oblique brainwave. I like to start off with the Jose false cut, because it not only keeps your stack, but it also kind of subtly hints that all the cards are the same colour backs. So I say, normally when magicians show you tricks, they keep the cards face down all the way through. Do you know why that is? And what we're doing here is the Jose false cut. So you're just cutting a chunk of cards off, about a third or less here. Another chunk, you just need to make sure you're not cutting into your red section, so anywhere above the red section is fine. That goes in the middle, and the last packet goes on the end, and then you stack them back up, moving from left to right. So that actually keeps everything in order, but it just makes everything look like it's all, everything's blue and that you're not really paying attention to the cards or their configuration. So you say, yeah, normally magicians keep the cards face down all the time. Do you know why that is? And spectators will say no. And you say, well, that's because they can cheat easier. Like if they were to give you the chance of choosing a card and you hadn't seen the faces, they could all be aces or something like that. And again, here we're just spreading over a big chunk of the cards. As long as you don't go too far to expose the red ones, again, we're just showing that the backs are all blue, basically. So you close up, you turn the cards face up, and then you spread them out to show everything's regular, as you say. So we're going to do this entire trick with the deck face up, so it's as fair as it can possibly be. So you square up the cards, and you have your spectator cut off about half the pack. I always say take off half the pack or less, it doesn't really matter. Because half is the most you want them to have. So they lift off, say, about half for themselves. You pick up your packet that's left on the table. Of course, all of yours are blue, and they've got 2 blue cards. Then they've got 13 or so red cards, and then they've got the rest that are blue. So now it comes a bit of a do as I do. You say, what I want you to do is to take the cards and deal them face up one at a time onto the table. And you start doing this quite slowly. So they'll copy your actions. Once they've dealt the first two, you need the first two to be gone. You say, and you can stop dealing any time that it feels right for you. But because you've dealt along with them and you've dealt quite slowly, they will deal quite slowly and copy your actions because you need them to stop in the bank of cards, which is about 13 long. So when they eventually stop, so let's say they stop here, give them the choice. If they're holding the two of, so they stopped on the two of clubs, sometimes they can be holding like this, and then you can give them the choice of having either the 9 of spades, the 2 of clubs, or the 7 of hearts. Or if they're dealing into just 2 packets, you can say which one did you mean to stop on, the 2 or the 9. Whichever one they meant to stop on, place it down in the middle of the table, away from everything else. So now we're going to show that they chose the only 2 of clubs in the deck. And that's going to be a sort of weak pun for the end, but also an excuse to show the cards. So you start off by picking up the first packet they dealt, and you say, look, you could have stopped any of these. There's no 2 of clubs there. Now, because you've got your cover cards here, when you close these up and turn them face down, a blue card shows as it should. So you've actually hidden the little stack of reds there. We're going to do the same thing again here. You pick up these, and you say, and none of these have a 2 of clubs in either. And I've spread those towards me so I can see the red backs. So what that means that I can do is I can hide those by squaring them up as I come back down. I'm saying you could have chosen any of those. So all I'm doing here is, if you can see there, I'm showing the, this is what the spectator sees, and then I'm seeing this. So I'm just closing up the red cards as I bring them down to show that the backs are all blue. I say you could have chosen any of these. Slap them down just messily on there. So if you'd cut further, deeper down into the packet, you could have ended up stopping on one of these, but there's no 2 of clubs here either. So you deal those down one at a time, messy. And then the same with the last lot, show that there's no 2 of clubs in any of these either. And you're turning them over and really just hammering home the fact that they're all blue backed, but without calling any attention to it, because you're calling attention to the faces. They're looking for an extra 2 of clubs. So this means at the end, you get your payoff when you can hold the card up and say, so that means you picked the only 2 of clubs in the entire deck. And I had a funny feeling all along that that's exactly what you'd do. And you reveal that the card says, pick me on the back, and you can hand the card out or just chuck it down. And all the heat's on that card. They can look at it. It's got no sticky stuff, no rough and smooth. And then that leaves you to just gather up these cards. And reset is very quick as well. You can just gather the cards up. And to reset the pack, all you need to do is move your 2 blue cards that you'll see in your red section to the bottom and put the spectators one into the red bank. And then that's all reset and ready for next time as well. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. That's Simon Lovell's Oblique Brainwave, otherwise known as Slob. So if you perform Slob, as we've taught you, you will basically never have a problem. But you might wonder what happens if the spectator deals past the bank of red cards. I've never had it happen myself, but Simon Lovell has an out for the situation. And it seems to me like it would be just as strong as the trick itself. So we'll talk you through it. So let's say, for example, I'm going to be the spectator. I cut off a chunk of cards. Say I cut off more than half. And I deal quickly, and I go right the way past all the red cards. So I keep dealing all the way through, and then I stop here. Rather than saying they've chosen either of those cards, you simply, when they've finished dealing, take these cards back, drop them onto the packet, and then you pick up the packet that they dealt, and you spread them between your hands, and you say, just take one. And this now becomes the world's easiest classic false, because all of the ones that you're spreading are red backed and have pick me written on it. So you spread over the top ones as a block, so they don't get to see those, and you just say, take one or name one. If you needed to use this out, I would also be tempted to use a different spectator. If you think the spectator is trying to be awkward by dealing more cards than you're expecting, then just pick them up when they finish dealing and offer this choice to somebody else who might be less of a I can't think of the word, so we'll have to think of something to cut around that. Less confrontational. So you can offer this choice to somebody else on the table and say, name one of the cards you see. The 6 of diamonds, that's great. And then you can go into the exact same thing before. You say, there's no other 6 here. There's no other 6 here. And then all the displays, you just carry on the whole trick as normal. Just showing that they could have picked any card. They picked the 6 of diamonds. There's no other 6 of diamonds in the deck, and you stopped on the 6, and I had a feeling you would right from the start. So that's the out should you ever need it, which I doubt, to be honest. It's just one of those tricks, because you're setting the rhythm, they copy your actions, and I've genuinely never had anyone deal past it. But that's what you should do, just in case you do have someone who does that. And you can kick them in the shins afterwards as well.